ongoing petrol crisis. Today we're going to be talking about the downstream sector. From rising fuel prices to supply chain disruptions, this crisis is hitting hard and affecting everyday life. But what's causing these persistent challenges? Is it a matter of regulation, mismanagement, or something deeper? Today we're breaking down the intricacies of introduce our regular analyst, our political and public affairs analyst, Donald Noah. Good morning to you, Mr. Noah.
Good morning, Sharon. Good morning, Oselo. Good morning, listener. It's always memorable to be in Memories FM.
Good morning. Thanks for calling.
And we also have the director of Niger Security Surveillance, an agency that is in charge of tracking illegal oil bunkering, and a member of NUPENG, Honorable Orok Ben. Good morning to you, Honorable Ben.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Welcome. All right, I'm just going to start with you before we go into the analysis. You being a key stakeholder, you being a stakeholder in this industry, I would like us to know some of the challenges that you face as a stakeholder.
All right, thank you very much. Let me first of all appreciate Memories FM. I've been watching you, I've been following you up. You guys are doing an excellent job here. Let me congratulate you for doing such a beautiful thing for this country. Thank you. First of all, let me speak.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Let me speak on the Niger Delta security surveillance first and what we have been able to achieve, and then before we go to the downstream sector. I've been a director here in this establishment for about 2 years now. It's a body that is also established by the federal government and in collaborations with the security agencies in this country, especially the police. So we have established our offices throughout the Niger Delta region, and all of them are working very strongly to achieve these same goals. Reducing completely the activities of the criminal elements in the oil and gas sector. We have succeeded in doing this to a very good extent. And if you, some 2 years back, you must have been hearing about explosions that is related to DPK. I'm talking about kerosene. People will go to a filling station as usual, legally, and buy a kerosene product. But that turns around to be a death warrant for so many people, not only in Akwa Ibom only, and several other areas. We have fought that from the root, from where it is being produced and where it is being transported, and finally to the end users, the filling stations and all of that. We have been able to root these criminals out completely. Many of them got arrested and prosecuted. As of today, I can tell you that there's nowhere you can find or hear anything that is related to DPK explosions anymore in Akwa Ibom. This is one of our jobs. Then also on adulteration, diversion, and pipeline vandalizations, which are also some of the top issues, items that we were dealing with. The federal government gave us a lot of support. I work collaboratively with the security agencies, the army, the police, and the civil defense, and the commissioner of police, the immediate past, has been of an immense help. Deployment of securities at will. And we have been able, I can tell you, with all amount of authority, that in Akwa Ibom today, there is nowhere you can find even a bucket of a bunkering products. Before now, they have been selling it in filling stations without any fear. People have been buying it, being the fact that the so-called lower in price that attracts a lot of customers. They buy it without looking at the consequences in their machines and all of that. But today, I can tell you that Akwa Ibom is clear, Akwa Ibom is clean. The two brigades here in the Nigerian Army have been so supportive. The Civil Defense Authority and the police, of course, we work collaboratively. And I can tell you very strongly that we have succeeded in this area. That is all about the Niger Delta Security Surveillance. And then I'm also a member of NUPENG, the PTD, here in Akwa Ibom State, which they also have helped very seriously because it borders on the transportation of the petroleum product from one point to the other. The trucks and the drivers are also involved in this union. It's a very powerful one all over the nation, and we also have branches in states and also in units. All of that has been taken into consideration. So that is what we do. We regulate the petroleum products in terms of the diversions and of course the distribution. That is what we do, and that is all about what we have been doing so far.
All right, so you haven't actually responded to some of the challenges that are in the downstream sector.
Yes, I was coming to that. The downstream sector is in crisis as at today. Let me go to the root of these matters. A large population here in this country, and by extension a very large quantity consumptions that we have. When you speak about over 30 to 40 million liters of consumptions in a day, that is the only nation in the whole of Africa that can consume a petroleum product, most especially PMS. I'm talking about premium motor spirit, that is petrol. There is no nation anywhere in Africa that can come even closer to this level of quantity that is being consumed in Nigeria. And at the same time, we are a very outstanding oil-producing nations in the world, almost 7th in position if you speak about the world, and the first in Africa. There is no reason whatsoever why we could not have a functional refinery that is owned and managed by the Nigerian government. We have a 3 indigenously owned refinery in this country. We have one in Port Harcourt here. That was
2 Port Harcourt.
Yes, but the old one is so obsolete, and sometimes it's very difficult to put that into turnaround maintenance. But the one that came after that has over 125,000. The old one is about 60,000 capacity. The one that have is about 125,000 barrel refining capacity per day. That is the capacity of that particular. We have another one in Warri that goes for almost 110,000 barrel consumption. Refined capacity per day. We also have another one in Karuna. That one goes along with petrochemicals. Now the point is, why are these 3 refineries not functional? Nigeria may likely be the only oil-producing nation in the whole world that has no functional refineries. Very likely, you go and look at the statistics today. And this is a country that has a very large consumption capacity. You cannot depend on imports and survive it. It's impossible. Now, this refinery, Port Harcourt refinery, was constructed well over 50 years ago. And it has served a lot of purpose. You know that the importation of petroleum products is alien in Nigeria. It started from few years back. We were all taking the downstream, the refined one from our various refineries, distributed Nigeria. As at that time, nobody was talking about imports. I can tell you, you guys start hearing imports of potassium of petroleum sometimes some 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago.
Recently.
Of course, that's why I said it's an alien in this country. It has not been happening. Now, successive governments has been coming. None. I'm talking about the willpower to tell Nigerians, this is the area we're going to focus. Building a modern digital refinery for this country. This one was built since the military era. Now, successive government has always been shying away from that responsibility. Building a new refinery that would have solved the problem that we are facing today. Now, this is where we are. The three produced, it's a zero production. As I'm talking to you, a lot of money has been put in there. A turnaround. Of course, to some extent, the facilities we have there are obsolete. That's what we have today is a different thing from what we have on ground in this country in terms of that refinery. Now, I was talking about the root. So that is the root cause. Before I get into the next stage, but root oil of our own, when we produce the crude that we have in Nigeria, pass it over to a refinery that we have in Nigeria, managed by the government effectively, transparently, and then those refined products are then distributed, as is always the case. We have the major marketers, we have the independent marketing PC outlets. These are the distribution chain. Once are being dispensed into this chain of distribution, I bet you by the time it gets to the station, those products will be gotten to the end users at affordable rate.
Yeah, please, if I have to come in there, you have told us a lot about the surveillance of oil bunkering and the activities of oil dealers in Nigeria, and perhaps the reason petrol prices may likely increase. Now, as being an insider in this business for over the years, what do you think is the real cause, why the federal government has refused to make sure one refinery in Nigeria is functional? Would I attribute that to sabotage?
I wouldn't really, because it's a responsibility of the government to do this. I wouldn't like to say sabotage. In quote, I wouldn't really like to say that. I want to say it's the willpower. The government don't make it as their priority. Once the government put that as a priority and said, this is what we want to do, we have the resources. This is what we want to do. They're going to construct every farm, even if it's one. Even if it is one at a central area in the Niger Delta, to be able to, that can go a long way. Even if we have about 130,000 refined capacity of barrels per day, that can finish the willpower of the government. Like I said before, successive governments shy away from that responsibility. I may not know what is their motives, but I want to tell every government that comes in refuse to look at in that direction, constructing a new digital refinery for the nation. We have the oil, we have the capacity, we have the resources. Then this is the question that possibly has to be put across to the government. Why this has not been done?
All right, Honorable, you mentioned that you're going from one step to another. You have mentioned that the first step is having refineries. That's the root of the issue.
Yeah.
What's the next one? I'm really interested in these challenges.
Okay, let me say this. the country for some years now, the country, being the fact that we are unable to refine our own needs, refine the products that we need. Now the government, what's the alternative? Resource to importations of petroleum products. Now, when you look at the imports, number one, you are going to, the people that are selling this product to you, the firms outside the country, or the refineries outside the country that are selling these products to us, buys what they refine at the market price in dollars. I'm talking about the barrels of oil, the crude oil.
Yeah.
They purchase it at the market price competitively at that level, which is a very high cost. Different from if we were taking it from what we have.
From within us.
Yes, locally. They purchase it, they refine it there at the refined cost as well is also taken into considerations. Then the cost of transporting it very expensively, transporting those products by ships from Europe and America or Asia into Nigeria is also collated and taken into considerations. And now the forex, because they are selling it to us in dollars. Don't forget that. We are buying these products in dollars. So by the time we purchase these refined products in dollars, source for forex, which is one of the problems that Nigeria has today. By the time you keep sourcing for dollars at the exorbitant rate and then use that to pay for that petroleum products that you receive, and then the port charges, you bet here, the port charges, and then the logistics of transporting them to the distribution outlets, the filling stations. I bet you there's nowhere you will be able to get it at a cost that is affordable in Nigeria. That is what we have been doing for over the years, that importation. But also, at the same time, there was some traces of hope when Dangote decides to build a refinery, privately owned in Nigeria. Now, when you speak about this other importation I'm talking about, after taking all these logistics, the forex into consideration, and the more importantly, what is the exchange rate today? When Naira was floated, it becomes about 1,500, 1,600 per dollar. How many equivalents of Naira, when you tap, would you be able to count that can afford to pay for that petroleum product that is coming in terms of importation? I'm coming to Dangote. How much in Naira equivalence when you convert it to 1,600, which is just $1? How much of that fund would you be able to assemble and along with the forex requirement to be able to pay for it? There's no way. Even the government is obviously, even if it's the government that are doing the imports, which has been the case, the NNPC, they cannot bear that brunt. It's impossible for them to be sustained if they keep on doing what they are doing. That's why the government was like paying the subsidy. What's supposed to be on top of it? Government said, okay, let me pay what is the balance for Nigerians so that they can still continue to buy it at 600 Naira per liter. I'm talking about 600. But when the currency was floated, the subsidy doubled. It goes up to 1,200 Naira per liter, the landing cost. So this NNPC government says they have been paying almost this 600 on top of to balance to make it a little bit affordable for Nigerians. And I got the point. They say they are owing the supplier over $4.something million that they cannot afford to pay again. And then they let the subsidy go. That's the reason we are talking about the 1,200, 1,000. I've just bought some for my car this as I'm coming here to the studio, 1,350.
So you're saying that they were still paying subsidy until this saga?
Until recently, when the
Recently.
NNPC said, no, we cannot do this again. They were paying well over 600 naira per liter as subsidy. I think it's like the burden weighing them down, and then they run away from it. They said, we cannot sustain this anymore. 1,350 per liter.
All right, Donald.
They are not paying it anymore.
Yeah, in the
But I'm still going to speak about the Dangote.
Yes.
But so far, that is the problem and the crisis that we have today.
Okay, Donald. You've heard him. What's your view on this?
Thank you, my brother. I didn't know that you are bringing an expert in oil sector.
No, memories go for professionals.
Yes, it's good for professionals. It's good to bring consultants so that they will speak. So we that are political analysts, we will look at the matter the way the thing is. Thank you, my elder brother Robin. Let me lay a background of this issue of this oil downstream sector. Crude oil was discovered in Nigeria in 1956. The boom started in what we are now. And even the oil, we discovered the oil, the mainstay of our economy was agriculture. But immediately the oil was fine and the oil boom, they now abandoned agriculture. Everybody now moved to see how you can. Everybody now try to have the own knife, see how you can partake in the national cake. And we discovered that the greatest challenge, we want to look at the challenge like Sharon really asked it. The first challenge that we have in the country, one, states was created, oil, so that they will benefit from the oil. Local government was created so that they will benefit from the oil. That was not enough. Even the civil war, time to be corrected, the civil war that was fought in Nigeria was because of the oil, because some set of people wanted to control the oil. Now, fast forward, we have the 4 refinery. The 4 refinery was working until 28 years ago. There was no maintenance. They now abandon the refinery, now go up to what they call I call it fraud, or I call it modernized fraud. They call it subsidy, which is Nigeria is not going to pay, that will pay for it. But I stand to be corrected that there is no country in the world that there is no subsidy. There must be subsidy either in the energy sector or either in agriculture or either in education. There is subsidy in advanced countries so that the citizens will be able to get it. But in Nigeria, it was really with corruption. Now, fast forward to the downstream sector, what we are passing through today. The greatest challenge that we are having, like what my brother says, is a refinery. Second, I would say that the forest I just mentioned. And the third one, the greatest one that the leaders will not want to mention is what I described as a crude-backed loan. In the years, successive government has borrowed money from international institutions, financial institutions, and now they're now using our crude oil to pay for those loans. That's what they don't want to tell us that. Now, Dangote refinery now came as the one kind of to salvage the situation. And you discover that Dangote is about the 7th largest refinery in the world, about 650 barrel capacity daily, which he would take care of. The statistics, I don't know how the statistics, whether it is true or not. They say about the time we are consuming PMS 30, some say it's 40 million liters a day. I don't know how true it is, but Dangote will be the institution that will salvage the situation. But politicians, because of what accumulated challenges that we are having, they don't want to go into, they don't want Dangote refinery to work out very well, to start production. And even if the production have started, we now heard, even till today, we've not heard how much Dangote is selling PMS to NNPC. We don't know, because NNPC said they're going to be the sole off-taker of PMS in Dangote. I am not against that, because when people say, I have a different opinion. You know why? If NNPC want to be the sole off-taker in the downstream sector, which the PMS is not bad, but so that they will be able to, maybe they can use crude oil or maybe be able to subsidize for us, but they don't want to do it.
As of today, we've heard that they're giving marketers the go-ahead to actually lift petrol from the Dangote refinery.
Yes, I think recently, I don't know, but Dangote have not, official information from Dangote have not come. I don't know how true it is, but if it is true, I think that is a very good one. We see how whether Dangote will be able to sell it in Naira, so that the pump price can be released from 1,000 to 1,004 we are having today. But now I see that like what my brother have said, my elder brother have said, the greatest problem is the political will from Mr. President. There is no political will to say can solve the oil saga in the country. Some unconfirmed report has accused some forces in the presidency that they have hands in the NNPC, because why is the government not unbundled NNPC? And we heard that few months ago that a retail outlet in NNPC was they contracted it to one company that's owned by some people in Aso Rock, and now that is why they don't want to talk. Why are they still keeping NNPC? Why they don't want to unbundle the NNPC? Why the NNPC are still celebrating the lifting of the off-taker of the private refinery Dangote? Why the NNPC that is controlling over 5,000 pipeline, and they own over 21 depots with hundreds of retail outlets in the country? None of them is functioning, and you see hand over the fate of the country and a business that is coming to salvage the situation in the country, which is Dangote refinery. You see handling into the fate of NNPC. They will not be able to manage 21 depots. They will not be able to even to manage the over 5,000 petroleum pipeline they have. They will not be able to manage the 4 refineries they have in the country. They won't be able to manage the retail outlet that they have. How would they be able to manage the distribution of people in the NNPC? Now, I always say that the problem we're having in the country now is that you having a car. Maybe give it to your driver, and it's time for servicing. Before you know, the tire has worn out. Before you know, it started having electrical problem. Before you know, the gearbox having problem, because the car is moving and the driver is still moving. Before they see having a knocking sound. Before you know, everything is worn out until the car being packed up. Before the driver come and say, okay, let's see how I can live, let's see how I can salvage the situation, let's see how I can repair that car. Such car is not easy for you to repair that car. That is the problem you have in the country. All through, successive government has having serious issues with the oil sector. They don't do anything about it. Presently, with Nigeria is almost crashing. We are almost stuck. We are almost in a point of no return. Like what Mr. Robin has said. Presently, NNPC came up to say they are owing international, that's where the company's subsidy over $4 billion. That's 4 so they're converting to the country. It's about 4 trillion naira. The question, who will pay such money of the loan that we are having? You see the NNPC that said they have 20% in the Dangote, 20% share. When the problem started, Dangote said they only paid 7.5%. And the question is, what about the other percent? Is it because they just corner it? And so there is no sincerity or purpose in NNPC, which is they are the regulator of the downstream sector. So until there's a political will from Mr. President, that is the way that is the starting point of the problem, that we will solve the problem in the downstream sector.
Let's hear from Honorable Rockben now. Let's come to this Dangote refinery. I want to take you back to when you said parents felt like there was a breath of fresh air, sort of. But now it doesn't seem to be the case anymore, especially with the price that they are still selling at. NNPCL is claiming that they bought at and how much they are distributing at and all of that. It doesn't seem like that was the proper intervention that we needed. What exactly happened at that point? What are we missing?
Yeah, it's okay. You and I knows very well that Dangote refinery is a privately owned establishment. It's owned by private company, managed by that same company. Now, that refinery, we don't know the arrangement that Dangote had with their partners before the establishment of that facility there. Now, initially we were thinking that federal government have well over 20% shares in that establishment. That was how we were made to understand. But today, we are hearing from the horse's mouth and talking about the Dangote management itself, that federal government has about 7%. 7% is just infinitesimal. It doesn't have any decision power. It doesn't have anything to do in terms of decision and management of that establishment. It's owned exclusively, privately. Now the point is, what is the aims of establishing that facility there? Maximization of profits. That is a business. They are looking for their own profit. And by what that management is telling us, they bought this particular product, the crude from Nigeria, in dollars, as it's being sold everywhere in the international markets. That they bought it at that same arrangement, and they are, after the refining and the logistic cost, they said they are also going to sell it, even if in naira, but it has to be in equivalence of dollars. That's what they told Nigerians. But one particular thing that really seems to understand is Dangote refinery as a today has not come out very clear, very open, and very sincere to Nigerians and said, this is the price that we have paid, that we want to sell to Nigerians. They have not done that. The NNPC is back and forth coming. He said, we are going to be the 100% off taker initially, what the Dangote refinery produce. Fine, like my brother has said, we wouldn't have any problem with that. Let it be that they are doing that for reason of effective distribution, because they are going to get it in vessels, transfer them to various depots in Nigeria. That's supposed to be the responsibility of NNPC. After taking it from there, a ship will take one to Warri, one will take it to Port Harcourt, and one to Calabar. And then from those depots, major and independent marketers supposed to, which were involved at that stage, supposed to get them out to the filling station and then the end users. But the point is, we may not have a problem about that, maybe for effective distribution. But at the same time, while they are doing this, opportunities is also supposed to be given to major marketers and independent marketers who deals directly with the trucks, to also have the rights of getting to the facility, loaded it up, distribute them. It has one of the largest consumption in the entire nation. And the environment, distributed within Lagos, Ogun, or and the rest of that area. That can be done effectively in trucks. And that will lower the cost. So, that of course will be competitive between the major and independent marketers and the NNPC. Which one is lower? Since it has been deregulated, government says they don't pay a price. Okay, independent marketers will say this is what we are going to sell, even higher than what the NNPC is selling. If everybody will go to independent marketers, NNPC also will force to come down. And if the independent marketers say this is what they are getting, and the NNPC is cheaper, then that will be for the competitive scenario will be created, and then people will have an options to buy what we want to buy, and then let them come out open. What is going to be their price? But as of today, NNPC were talking about almost 950 per liter. You and I know that with the present economic situation in Nigeria today, it is not attainable. It is not affordable for Nigerians. Petrol price is attached to every economic factors in Nigeria. The agricultural goods, the transportation of goods and material from one point to the other. What you buy in the market is completely attached to the price of petrol. Okay, look at the scenario now. Go to the markets. Tell me what you can buy. How much are you taking to the market to be able to just get a pot of soup today? That's the point. All is attached to the price of petrol. That is where government's supposed to concentrate a lot. Honestly, I would still have to go align with what my brother is saying. In every nations of the world, there is certain sector the government subsidize, either in power or any, the one that is so very important for a particular nation, the one that borders on the every aspects of human lives in your nation, government always subsidize. So for Nigerian government to come and say subsidy is gone, honestly, I don't know how we are going to make it. I don't know how Nigeria is going to survive it. There has to be some level of sacrifice on the part of government to the citizenry. Of course, that has to happen. So that is that on the part. But let me also say this. Dangote said, after the month of September, which we are now, from the month of the NNPC would now be selling the crude oil to them, almost about that 620,000 capacity rate, will sell to them in Naira. That they would also refine and sell back to Nigerians in Naira. And that the price in October will be different from what we are buying right now. Well, we may just take them by their words. I think, let me say, to exercise a little patience through the month of this September, believing that by the month of October, when we start going through the Naira sales and resales, I believe maybe by that, this product may come down to 600 or thereabout, which we think at that level, Nigerians can be able to manage this situation. But that is the thing. But let me also come up here, please. As long as we don't have our own indigenous refinery where we produce our crude and then we refine that our crude in our own indigenously owned refinery, as long as that has not happened, then don't expect that there will be a tea party as long as the downstream sector is concerned in terms of prices. And also, let me say this, the downstream sector that we have today, let us pray that the turnaround maintenance, which the contract was awarded with so many billions, the contract was for 3 years, which have elapsed by this September, if I can get it right. Which means by this October, the turnaround maintenance, the company must have handed over to the NNPC management for the takeoff of the refined products for this country, so that we can have some certain level of bridge.
All right.
That's what our beliefs. And that is what I am advising the government.
All right.
They go for it no matter what. Outside that, this crisis would continue.
Thank you very much,
Right.
Honorable Orok Ben. We're actually due for a commercial now. When we return, we're going to be opening the phone lines. We've been talking about the crisis in the petroleum downstream sector, and we have a stakeholder. We also have an analyst in the studio. They have giving their 2 cents, and we want to hear from you. But let's go pay some bills. When we return, we'll talk more.
and we're looking at the state of the nation as it affects petroleum and the PMS. Pretty soon the phone lines will be open after this question. Let me go to the international community. We've dwelt and rested enough on the national issues and how the federal government is going about it, and Dangote too. Let me come to you. Nigeria is a sovereign nation and actually belongs to international agencies such, one of which is Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. Now, with all the back and forth in the PMS industry, in PMS business in Nigeria, what's been the international community has been very silent. What in your view do you think they can do to intervene? Yeah.
Thank you, Oselo. You know, Oselo, Nigeria is a sovereign state. And you know, the responsibility of OPEC is to regulate the oil, you know, the selling of oil in the international market. You know, if you sometimes fall from 85 to that is your job. You know, it's like for example, in Nigeria, somebody say want to control what is happening in your family. You cannot control. You have the responsibility of control what is happening in your family.
Are there no sanctions?
No, there are sanctions. There's no sabotage. There's no. You see, what is happening in the country today is as a result of mismanagement. We have problem of leadership. Like what my brother have said, look for example, presently Nigeria doesn't know how many oil they have crude oil they have
how much?
How much? No, how the quantity,
okay,
because of the stealing of crude oil. And if you look at if you bear me with, I think 4 months ago, the federal government awarded contract of metering over 187 flow station, because we have 187 flow station in Niger deltas. In Saudi Arabia and others advanced oil countries, they have this metering whereby you know how many oil from point A to point B and everything. Now the responsibility of OPEC is to regulate the oil price in international market. They will not come to build refinery for you. Okay. They will not come to distribute PMS for you. They will not come to refine and tell how much you are being consumed. It's a responsibility. You know, these things.
Okay, so right.
Very quickly, in addition to that, what the OPEC does is the quotas. They will tell Nigeria what they are going to produce, bomb into international market is 2 million barrels. And as today, that is what Nigeria is contributing. Even though we have not been able to meet that target, sometimes we have 1.6 million. But the approved quota for Nigeria to pump into international market is $2 million. Barrel. And that is what they regulate. They make sure you don't go beyond that quantity so that there will not be an excess and would affect the price.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
So let's bring our listener to the conversation. You can dial 0803 0857 or 0809 0666909. We now got time, so let's. Our
WhatsApp number is 0809 066 6909. We're streaming live on Phase 965 FM. Don't drop a comment there.
Yeah, there's a call here. Hello. Good morning.
SHARON and
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning, my guest.
Good morning.
My people, I want to say that simply those that
Oh, we lost that.
Thank you very much, Udo.
Okay, it's going. It's going.
Udo, wrap up.
Thank you very much. All right, what's on the program Melting Point Friday?
Let's take some comments on Facebook before we proceed. with taking more calls. We have Godwin Edet saying, good morning, Queen of the Airwaves. All this suffering, hence they should stay clear. Mystery behind this Dangote and NNPCL that is yet to be demystified. All right, let's take more calls.
Hello, good morning. All right, she's here. I agree to.
Good morning and welcome.
Calvin. Yeah, thank you very much for your contribution. I do hope we have another.
Yeah, Ursula, I thought you wanted to pick that one. All right, so keep the calls coming in 0803 085 7755 or 0809 066 6909. Our last call. Hello, good morning. Welcome to the program.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Right.
Bro John on Facebook is saying, good morning to you all. The President is the Minister of Petroleum. Why not hand over to a competent person to handle such problem? Diversifying the economy from ever dependency of fuel will bring market competitiveness in curbing inflation. Hand over other refineries to private hands for optimum performance, and if NNPCL wants a refinery, they should have one in tackling inflation. All right, we have a minute left, so let's hear from our guests in the studio on the parting shots. That's a response to what the callers have said and what the people have said on Facebook.
Okay, yeah, it still boils down to the same thing. Let Nigeria, and especially the Nigerian government, prioritize their decisions concerning the either rehabilitation or building of a new refinery. That is the root of it. That is the bottom line. Even if it will be managed by a private sector, but let Nigerian government build a refinery for Nigerians.
All right, Mr. Noah.
Yes, what I will say that I am calling on NLC and other TUC and other civil society. Say please, I think this also, apart from strike, the NNP should to demand refinery